Greetings and salutations, loyal viewers of this channel. My name is Sean, and today we got to talk about a bit of a heartwarming, a bit of a tragic story out of the city of New York, where a 60-year-old woman who happened to be a retired cop was the victim of an attempted robbery. However, it didn't work out too well for said robber's nose, and that's why I want to talk about the good about this. However, this is unfortunately a part of an ongoing trend, so there is some bad elements to it. Now, before we get into that, I want to thank everybody who signed up over on actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money, okay?
Is really appreciated.
You can still see the mark left on her neck after a man holds a knife to her throat, and she's not the only person saying that people are being targeted and robbed in Queens.
So yeah, as reported by the local news, as reported by Stephon Kim, you're in a situation where people are being robbed in and around this area, which we will talk about the particulars of said area before, by what looks like to be repeat offenders. On top of that, one of the vehicles utilized in this particular robbery, and it appears to be a pattern, happens to be a Hyundai. We all know about the Kia and Hyundai boys, that glitch and whatnot. So this actually might be a situation where a car is being stolen in order to be utilized in the commission of additional crimes, which is an ongoing thing that we've seen across this nation. And one of the reasons why I find it quite dubious when I see Grand Theft Auto claims are up and certain other categories of crimes are technically down by the statistics, because a lot of times they're stealing these cars in order to commit a bunch of different other various crimes. But let's get into it so you guys can hear what went down, hear how scary a situation this actually was, and how disgusting these criminals, that I'm sure many people will call Aladdins, innocent angel Aladdins, just trying to feed their starving families, actually are.
A week after she had a knife to her throat, you can still see where he pressed the blade into her neck.
He pushed that knife in really hard.
In this Eyewitness News exclusive, this 60-year-old retired police officer who did not want to show her face says she noticed two men in a black Hyundai SUV with tinted windows slowly following her for more than a block. Then, as she was walking down 146th Street in Flushing, just a half block from the LIE, the passenger got out of the vehicle, ran up behind her, and put a large fishing knife to her throat.
So yeah, like they said, black SUV, Hyundai, probably a stolen SUV, slowly creeping behind this elderly woman, obviously targeting her because she looked like a vulnerable victim, and then suddenly the passenger jumps out of the car, they come behind them, and a fishing knife is put to her throat, and as you saw in the open, you could see the bruising for how hard the knife was pressed into her throat. But it gets worse, it gets more disgusting. I want you guys to hear that before we get to the positive part.
He says, just give it to me. Just give me what you got. Just give me what you got. And I didn't have anything. And I told him I had $4.
So yeah, that's right. Guy comes out of the car, knife to the throat. You see the bruising of it. You see the evidence of it. Possibly a stolen Hyundai on 146th Street. Broad daylight, by the way. Elderly woman in her 60s. Demands everything that she has. She doesn't carry money on her. She carries about $4 in cash, offers him that. He gets angry and he decides that he's going to fiddle around with this 60-year-old woman's bra.
I said, take it. And he was mad and put his hand down my bra to see if I had cash in my bra like some women do.
Cops say it happened last Saturday just before 5 p.m.
With the knife to her throat, because that's the kind of caliber person that we're dealing with. This is the innocent angel, the victim of our society, the person that we should cater to, the person who, by the way, likely is a repeat offender, since these robberies are occurring around this area over and over and over again. And again, the very high likelihood that that was a stolen Hyundai SUV involved in this process. And for some reason, a lot of people on the left wing are going to defend the criminal, saying he's an innocent angel, and not the retired woman, not the elderly woman who's just going for a walk. For some reason, she doesn't matter. We should just dismiss her because, oh my God, just think about how sad it is for these innocent angels to steal cars and, put knives to people's throats and all that.
Investigators say she then punched the man with a knife square in his face.
I broke his nose.
Yeah.
He's got a broken nose. You got a broken nose right now, you son of a bitch.
There's a certain level of energy that you get from New Yorkers that just is not that common among other groups of people. So here you have 60-year-old woman, knife to her throat. Again, guys robbing her, sexually assaulting her by going through her bra in order to find if she has additional cash in there. And for some reason, this woman gets it in her mind, likely because she's a retired police officer, that it's time to defend yourself. So she decides that she's going to crack this guy in the face, ends up busting his nose, and I absolutely love it. I support it. I'm into it. I'm all about it. I absolutely enjoyed hearing that. I love the way that she looks dead in the camera. Unfortunately, her face is blurred, and says it directly in camera. You got a broken nose.
I jumped in the middle of the street and I said, come back. I'm not done with you yet.
I mean, come on. Who doesn't love this lady? Again, I wish I could see her face. I wish I could see the look on her face so you know not to mess with this old lady from now until the end of time, till the end of her days. She's like, come back. I'm not done with you yet. To an armed around 20-year-old with a giant knife who, again, was willing to put said knife to her throat. She's like, I'm not done with you yet. Get your ass back over here. Now, I wish that this retired police officer was carrying her firearm. I know firearm ownership, very difficult to achieve in the city of New York, but if you are a police officer, you do maintain that additional right to carry a firearm past retirement. So I wish this could have ended even better, where this guy ends up charging her with the knife. Not that I'm rooting for anybody to be killed, but it would be nice for some of these criminals who target the vulnerable to realize that maybe some of the vulnerable people that they think are going to be an easy mark are actually not going to be that easy, are actually going to put up more of a fight than you think. And maybe what we need in the city of New York is a situation where a criminal actually faces dire consequences in the moment that he decides to act, in the moment that he decides to victimize another person, because as of right now, the criminal justice system refuses to hold these people accountable. Again, we don't know a lot about this individual right now. There has not been an arrest made as far as I know. Hopefully there is an arrest. Hopefully we will find out. And unfortunately, it is very likely that this guy's going to have a lengthy criminal history, possibly targeting elderly women before, possibly targeting other vulnerable groups of people, and he would have been let out over and over again by the city of New York's lax criminal justice system, because this is what happens time and time again. And again, the indicators of this, the location where this crime occurred, the repeated instances in this particular location, the likely stolen Hyundai, all of that adds up to somebody who is a career criminal, somebody who is a repeat offender, somebody who does this over and over again, and I'm very happy that his nose is broken.
The victim says she has 2 broken fingers from that punch. Police say the men then jumped back in their vehicle and sped off.
What an absolute boss. The woman has 2 broken fingers, and I don't know if you know this, but Sefon Kim is out there a week after this instance, and you know what you don't see on this absolute boss's fingers? A cast. Anything. At all. She's like, you know what? I'm gonna wear my broken bones like a badge of glory. I cracked that guy in the face. I broke his effing nose, as she said, and I'm not even gonna go seek medical attention. Even if I'm a retired cop and I got the best healthcare benefits New York City has to offer, I'm just gonna wear these bruised fingers like a badge of honor, because you know what? It was a good moment for me. He came up, he wanted to F around, and guess what? He found out all over his face. And both of these guys, after his nose was broken, ended up fleeing the scene. Both of these guys ended up taking off because this old lady was not having their nonsense. But this is where the story becomes a bit more problematic, because the particular area that they're targeting is ripe for these type of criminals to attack. And unfortunately, with an understaffed police department that doesn't patrol areas in the way that they do, this is likely to occur again, because it's been a pattern of behavior before. And this is what happens when you leave criminality completely unchecked.
Neighbors here think they're targeting this block because just around the corner is the LIE, a quick getaway.
My parents are in their 60s. I have to make sure that they're okay.
Terrified residents say it happened on this block several times in the past several weeks.
There's been multiple incidents on this street where older people have been attacked, targeted and attacked.
So for those of you who can't tell right there, that is clearly and obviously an Asian man. He is worried about his elderly Asian relatives. And this is in fact Flushing, New York, which is a predominantly Asian neighborhood. I believe that it has more Chinese people than Chinatown in New York City, and more Koreans than anywhere else in New York City as well. On top of that, I can confirm, as somebody who has been in and around this area before, who has gotten on the highway over there, that this is a very quick way to get out of this particular area. There happens to be a street, I believe 1 or 2 blocks east of that is the primary street in which people churn in order to get on the highway, but that one has a bunch of different lights and all that. So this is the shortcut route without almost any obstructions that you would take in order to avoid being seen by cameras, having to deal with excess pedestrians, having to deal with excess vehicles. So for sure, this is definitely a highly vulnerable area to those criminals. There's also other highways that you can connect to pretty nearby over here. That entrance to the LIE, I believe the direction that they're going in would be west, ends up leading to Grand Central, and other ways that you could turn around, get to any highway that you want within a couple of minutes, obviously depending on traffic. So this is a great area if you're a criminal, unfortunately, to target elderly people that are going for a leisurely walk where you would likely be uninterrupted even during the course of the day, because not a lot of people realize that that is a good way around the red light camera that again is a block east from there, and all the other different various problems that have to do with the traffic of the much busier street. So yeah, these people are being victimized. They are quite vulnerable to this, and it would be great if the NYPD could actually do something about it. But even if they made arrests, even if they actually caught these guys in these stolen vehicles, even if they actually noticed the people lurking in that block, guess what? They're going to be released same day automatically because of bail reform.
The victim says the men appeared to be in their 20s. She says both had short dreadlocks. Both were wearing dark sweats. She says their SUV had New Jersey plates. Police say the investigation is ongoing.
Look, one of the things I hate about the local news is the descriptions that you often get for perpetrators that are on the loose. Now, I understand if some people don't want to talk about the race of certain suspects and all that after they've already been caught, because now they're in the criminal justice system and now it's going to be adjudicated, and you'd rather not highlight the race of this individual or that individual. But these two individuals are on the loose. And what did we get? The description of the color of the car, the description of the color of the clothes, the description of their hairstyle, and that's it. They didn't explain the rest of the description. You're going to tell me that this 60-year-old woman who was just physically assaulted, her life was threatened, she was just sexually assaulted, who gave Stephon Kim all of that, also didn't mention that they were likely young black males as well? That was just left out by editorial for whatever reason, because even in a situation like this, where the story is elderly people, this woman doesn't appear to be Asian to me, even though she got the blurred face, so technically we don't know, but retired cop, you hear the voice, she sounds like a white New Yorker. But in an area where Asians that are elderly are often targeted because it is a predominantly Asian neighborhood, they still can't give you information on the suspects. They still got to withhold a couple of details in order to save face, even though these people, again, are on the loose. And need I point out that the description of the vehicle, the Hyundai with the New Jersey plates, might not be all that useful to anyone, because it is very unlikely that these individuals brought their own car, their own Hyundai, from New Jersey in order to commit this robbery in Queens. You have to pass through a lot of New York City in order to get to this location, so this is very likely a stolen Hyundai vehicle. So all the details about the Hyundai are actually likely to be the least relevant a week later, because that car is probably stolen, and these criminals probably went through a bunch of different other various cars, but the details related to the suspects, the individuals, the immutable characteristics in this moment are very relevant. Again, we can have a conversation about racially describing suspects post their arrest. We can talk about the utility of that, but in the most practical sense, when somebody is on the loose, you want to get all the information out there humanly possible. And guess what we're not receiving right now? All the information possible for us to receive to know who these people are. So yeah, while I absolutely love this woman's energy, while I absolutely love and hope that she is correct in her assessment that she broke this person's nose, and we have somebody at the hospital with medical records, and that would lead the police to be able to find them, I still can't help but notice all the things that are being left out, all the things that are not being said, even though, again, elderly people are being threatened with death for their petty property by these individuals, and for some reason, we're still not giving all the information we can about them. But you know what? It's a good story. Still, there's still some great components to it. It could be significantly worse, so I'm going to leave the floor for you guys to throw your comments at me. If you like this video, then show them by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on my social medias, support me via the support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about a criminal getting his nose broken because he effed around and found out. Till next time.